But how does somebody who's a farmer or somebody who has a fruit stand live on an island that's so expensive? Is there two economies?
I'll give you an example. When I went back to St. Lucia, that was my first job in St. Lucia, and I found it extremely hard to live there on my salary because I had to work 6 months at the hotel to get paid what I got paid in 1 month in London. So that was extremely difficult, and a lot of the people I worked with, they were there for 10 years, 15 years, and some of them got paid less than I got paid. And I really can't understand that concept because I haven't got children. A lot of them were single mothers, but they dealt with it. They knew how to stretch the dollar, and whereas I was not, I couldn't stretch the dollar. So that was difficult for me. But they learn, I think as a child you learn to stretch the dollar because you're taught to buy certain places and how you could eat healthily without spending so much money. And also in St. Lucia, when I was growing up and when I lived with my mom, it's like a family. So if you run out of sugar, you could go to your next door neighbor and say, oh, can I get a cup of sugar? Which I suppose was the same a few years back in the U.S. Yeah, and certain places in the U.S. it still happens. So that's how it was when my mom lived. In the capital, it's very different. At my dad's, people don't do that. Also, you lock your doors in the capital, whereas where my mom lives, you could leave your door open and you're not going to be, scared or be thinking, oh my God, someone's going to mug me or rob my house, anything like that. It's just very, very different. But back to the question, I just think it's experience and you know how you could stretch the dollar. Whereas for me, I had not experienced that before. So it was very difficult because I was used to having the pound and, living on the pound, and then I got to St. Lucia and then the money was not what I expected. But I took the job, so, and plus my husband, he was my boyfriend then. He was a Peace Corps volunteer, so you don't get paid that much as a Peace Corps volunteer. You get paid roughly $500 a month. So, yeah, so we went to my mom's a lot for dinners.
What's the healthcare like?
It's modeled after England, so it's free for basic services. If you were to have an operation, or if you were to go privately, because they've got a private hospital, and then you pay money. I had, because we had our wedding in St. Lucia, and one of our friends got bitten by a dog, and there was no charge when she went to the hospital.
How does St. Lucians feel about like other countries, like Americans or like the British or anything like that? Like how do they relate to them?
I think they probably think if you're American or if you're Westerner, you automatically have more money than they have. So if you go on holiday, they don't realize a lot of people, they save up for the holiday and it's just as expensive, for them. But in their eyes, if you're American, then, ooh, you've got more money, and it's probably because Americans tip. In the British society, you don't tip. So, yeah, so it's different. So they probably think Americans are loaded a lot more than a British person.
What are some pastimes in St. Lucia?
Snorkeling. I love snorkeling. That's what I did, and we would go walking in the rainforest because there were trails. I actually climbed the 2 pitons. extremely difficult, but I did it. So that's what a lot of people do. They like drinking as well. That's a form of socializing. In the Caribbean, they drink more, and I think it's probably the heat. So that's how they have a good time.
Are you ever planning on going back to St. Lucia?
On holiday, yes. I don't. We originally thought about living in St. Lucia, but it's just very difficult. Very difficult unless we both want to do hotel jobs, or I work for my family and I want to work for my family. So yeah, plus it's hard to get a job in St. Lucia. Unemployment is really hard. The village where my mom is from, 50% of the women, they're unemployed, and normally that comes with crime, but it's not in this case, which is extremely good. So maybe when we're retired, then we'll think about it, but at the moment, no.
So do a lot of people leave St. Lucia to go to other places in the world?
Yeah, a lot of people go to London because I've got quite a few family members. They're still back in London because the money's better, and then you could further your education. It's just a lot easier to live in London because they've got a lot more opportunity.
So would you say that there's a brain drain going on, where you have a lot of the people either who have the means to leave and they leave, or they leave for further education, but then they don't come back, and so that whatever benefits they get, they don't sort of return to the island?
Yeah, and a lot of people who've got the means, they don't return, because then you could make a lot more money if you were outside, unless you really love the sun and you love the beach, then you return. But most people, they don't.